10 minutes ago, Jimin shocked. Jungkook abruptly cancels his massive plan after a critical clash with HYBE. What really happened behind closed doors? In a move that has left both the industry and fans reeling, global superstar Jungkook has abruptly canceled what insiders called the second most significant project of his solo career, just minutes after a highly confidential, emotionally charged meeting with HYBE's executive leadership. Why did Jimin, usually composed and diplomatic, look utterly stunned as the news broke inside their internal media room? And what exactly happened in that sealed room that altered the trajectory of not just a single artist, but potentially the future of BTS as a global cultural powerhouse? The sudden cancellation was not just unexpected. It was unthinkable, and no one, not even the inner creative circle, saw it coming. Jungkook, who had been preparing a massive international collaboration since late 2024, was reportedly days away from initiating final stages of execution. Contracts had been drafted, schedules approved, even demo tracks completed in London with Grammy-winning producers. So why was the plug pulled now, without public explanation? According to a high-level source within the South Korean entertainment sector, Jungkook's decision did not stem from marketing adjustments or artistic concerns. Instead, it followed an intense, emotionally fraught discussion with HYBE executives, a meeting held under heightened security, with no access granted to production staff or mid-level management. The source, who spoke on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the matter, described the tone of the meeting as strained, with long silences and visible tension. Within 90 minutes of that meeting, a confidential internal memo circulated inside HYBE headquarters. 10 minutes later, Jimin, present in the internal press room, was visibly shaken. Eyewitnesses described his reaction as paralyzed and entirely out of character. He reportedly stared blankly at a wall for several seconds, remaining speechless even as whispers of the cancellation spread among the staff. This reaction, analysts say, confirms that Jungkook's move was not only unanticipated by fans, but also by his own bandmates. Multiple credible reports suggest that the canceled project involved a full-scale solo world tour, a brand partnership in luxury fashion, and a digital media rollout unprecedented in scale for a Korean solo artist. A project of this magnitude would typically involve over a year of planning, cross-departmental coordination, and significant financial investment. Thus, the decision to abandon it is not only a creative shift, it is a rupture in HYBE's mid- to long-term strategy for BTS' post-military return. But what exactly triggered this rupture? Why now? A written internal statement from HYBE mentioned vaguely that certain artist agendas must be adjusted in line with internal corporate conditions and evolving strategic plans. The neutrality of the wording immediately raised red flags. The phrasing, according to corporate communications experts, signals the presence of deeper unresolved issues, possibly involving contract terms, control over creative direction, or even the future positioning of BTS members as individual artists. What makes this situation even more volatile is its timing. With several BTS members still in active military duty or mid-promotion of their own projects, any internal dispute or misalignment could disrupt the fragile balance of the group's future. Moreover, it places HYBE under intense public scrutiny at a time when its market forecasts for Q4 2025 are heavily reliant on the success of high-impact solo ventures. Particularly Jungkook's point, one prominent analyst from Korea Entertainment Insight stated, "This is not just about a project being cancelled. It's about who holds the reins, artist or agency." This tug-of-war over artistic control is far from new in the K-pop industry. But when it involves a figure as globally consequential as Jungkook, the stakes multiply exponentially. ARMY, the fandom that has long sustained BTS' global ascendancy, has responded with a tidal wave of emotional protest. In less than 48 hours, a fan-led petition demanding HYBE respect the creative autonomy of its artists amassed over 1 million signatures globally. The tone of the petition is strikingly direct. You cannot demand total loyalty from an artist if you deny him the space for creative freedom. It's a sentiment that underscores the growing tension between corporate structure and artistic identity in today's global entertainment landscape. The cancellation is not merely a delay or a rescheduling. It marks a symbolic moment of defiance, a resistance to what Jungkook may perceive as the encroachment of corporate agenda on personal artistry. What remains unclear, and deeply troubling for fans and stakeholders alike, is what was actually said during that closed-door meeting. The speculation ranges from creative disagreements over project concept to contractual conflicts regarding profit sharing, branding rights, and post-military strategy. Some insiders suggest the existence of a revised artist contract post-enlistment, containing clauses that may limit individual autonomy in the name of group integrity. The emotional intensity of the moment is further magnified by the silence of other BTS members. RM, often the spokesperson during turbulent times, has issued no statement. Taehyung and Jin remain publicly absent on the matter, absorbed in their respective promotional cycles. The only voice thus far is Jimin's, and even that was carefully measured. In a quiet but pointed comment during a restricted internal media appearance, Jimin stated, "I just hope we can all remain united, and that trust between us comes first." Observers took note of his tone, solemn, tired, and laced with a trace of resignation. To longtime BTS followers, the comment signals that the issue at hand is not just operational, but personal. Further complicating the matter is the global ecosystem tied to Jungkook's now-shelved project. Major US and European music entities, including high-profile PR agencies, fashion brands, and festival organizers, had reportedly been engaged. For them, the collapse of the venture means not only reputational risk, but tangible financial impact. Behind the scenes, whispers suggest that the company is now scrambling to recalibrate its messaging. But even if HYBE manages to patch over this rift publicly, the fissure within BTS' internal structure and the broader questions it raises about creative independence cannot be easily ignored. Is this a brief misalignment that will soon be resolved? Or is it the beginning of a wider realignment, where each BTS member charts his own future beyond the centralized strategy that once made the group unstoppable? If anything, this incident shines a piercing light on the tension between vision and execution, freedom and structure, loyalty and autonomy. At the heart of it stands Jungkook, a figure celebrated not just for his talent, but for his perfectionism and unwavering standards. For an artist of his caliber to walk away at the 11th hour implies a deeper conflict, one that transcends schedules and boardrooms. Industry veterans say this move could shift the conversation in K-pop permanently. If even Jungkook, a principal pillar of HYBE's success, feels constrained, what does that mean for emerging artists? And how long can the industry's largest agencies maintain their grip without reckoning with evolving artist expectations? The silence from HYBE grows louder with each passing hour, while speculation continues to mount. Was it a clash over artistic direction? A disagreement about project messaging? Or something more systemic, a power struggle over post-BTS branding and independence? One thing is certain, the decision has triggered a domino effect that will reverberate throughout the remainder of 2025 and possibly beyond. As the world awaits further clarity, the spotlight remains fixed on Jungkook, not only as an artist, but as a symbol of a generation questioning the structures that made them. This isn't just a story about a cancelled project. It's a chapter in the unfolding saga of how the most influential music group of the 21st century negotiates its future in a world that demands both unity and individual expression. And as the dust settles from that now infamous closed-door meeting, the biggest question remains: what was said in that room that made one of the world's most disciplined artists walk away from the biggest opportunity of his career?